the plan, the 5-point plan put together by the Trump camp to defeat Ron DeSantis, to go after Ron DeSantis during a hypothetical 2024 Republican primary has been revealed. Axios did some reporting on this, and now we have this 5-part plan to take down Ron DeSantis again in a hypothetical primary. And we'll walk through the details of this in a second, but I gotta say, as I've been saying pretty consistently, I love all of this. I love the attacks from Trump to get this all heated and cause as much of a debacle within this GOP primary as possible. And so it's quite fun to see this kind of picking up, even though DeSantis, of course, hasn't formally announced. Definitely Trump thinks he's going to and is formulating a plan to take him down. Here it is being discussed on Morning Joe.
What will come at them? And in the case of DeSantis, here's what's coming after him. Trump's going to talk a lot about his past, talk about cutting entitlements, Medicare, Social Security, including when he was a congressman. He's going to talk about the loyalty that he thinks that he should have for Trump, who was a big help in making him governor. Trump has been truthing, as he calls tweeting on his platform, Truth Social. He's been talking a lot about Paul Ryan, trying to say that DeSantis is a lackey of the former speaker and shares his views. He's going to go after, ironically, DeSantis to say that he was too cautious about COVID. Of course, largely the rap on the governor is the opposite. And fifth, Mika and Joe, he's going to say that he's waffled on Ukraine. Now, as we do this
Okay, very interesting. So let's go back through this ourselves. First being DeSantis's support of, in Trump's mind, cutting Medicare and Social Security. Now, Trump has lied about the reality of DeSantis's past actions on this, but I will say, number one, that DeSantis, very likely, as many Republicans probably agree, wants to cut Medicare and Social Security, would love to cut entitlements, but obviously wouldn't run on that. And again, Trump has lied about some of DeSantis' past actions on that front. But number two, just this being an attack line from Trump is good because it causes it to be, setting aside dishonesty generally being bad if he's saying certain things specifically that are dishonest, but the general attack line of DeSantis, and based on past statements, he definitely likely doesn't want entitlements to be as they currently are and would like to see them cut. It brings it into the conversation within the context of the GOP. And I do think it's more of a common occurrence to see Republicans get confronted on their stance on entitlements when Trump is constantly accusing another Republican of wanting to cut them. So that one's going to be fascinating to watch. Number two, disloyalty to Trump on the part of DeSantis, something since the beginning we've heard from Trump against DeSantis, saying that because Trump helped in DeSantis's gubernatorial race, and I do think, honestly, Trump is a major reason that DeSantis was able to win that race. If you go back and look at the campaign DeSantis was running, it was definitely as pro-Trump as you can get. Cringy commercial, propagandizing his children was the whole point of the commercial, to love Trump. Very strange. So I do think on that front, he definitely helped DeSantis, but Trump is all about loyalty to him, so he doesn't think it's loyal that DeSantis is now possibly going to challenge him. And then third, the Paul Ryan point, which is about Paul Ryan, but more generally about Trump's view and Trump's attack line that is so common against anyone who's not perfectly aligned with Trump, that the person opposing him is a part of the deep state or a little bit of a moderated version of that, that they're the establishment, that they are a rhino. And I do think Trump will try to frame DeSantis as those things for sure, because MAGA doesn't like rhinos, Republicans in name only. And then four, DeSantis' response to COVID. Now you might be thinking him not taking it seriously. No, the opposite. That he, at the beginning, maybe took it sort of seriously, and that's bad, I guess. And the reason Trump's going to focus on that is because DeSantis is trying to frame himself as more anti-vax than Trump, and that's why he'd be better for MAGA, and completely against mandates and all these different things. And so Trump is trying to say, no, he also at the beginning was in favor of certain things. And that will be what we hear from him likely. And then finally, DeSantis' comments on the war in Ukraine. And I don't know specifically what Trump would be thinking of in that situation, but I know, and we're going to talk about this more specifically later in today's show, that indeed DeSantis has waffled, I think was the word the Morning Joe individual used, on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, because Biden is standing with Ukraine, helping in Ukraine's defense of themselves with aid on the part of the U.S. government, DeSantis has to frame himself as against that when past statements show he likely in a different situation would be for helping Ukraine defend themselves very in a strong manner. And that's what Biden's doing. But because it's Biden, DeSantis has to sort of, in an incoherent way, again, we'll talk about this more later in today's show, criticize Biden on that front. And so Trump, I guess, is going to call that out. But Trump doesn't really have a place to talk because Trump's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been incoherent, quite incoherent, getting asked about it, saying, what would you do differently? And he just kind of says it wouldn't have happened because he's so strong. And if he was president, he could end it in 24 hours, but doesn't give specifics as to how that would happen. So neither of them accurately assess and articulate the reality of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But there it is. Again, like I've said in this segment and others, I love to see it. Hopefully DeSantis will jump in the race, so this will get very heated and they will be clashing constantly. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.